It is true that Indian criticism and opposition to British rule precedes the communist critique of British rule in India, because already from 1880s, Dadabhai Naoroji and his colleagues were sharply criticizing the way India was being exploited by British imperialism. And while today one is devoting oneself to the Marxist critique of British imperialism in India, it is also proper to pay respectful tributes to our own national figures, preeminently Dadabhai Naoroji, R.C. Dutt and Gadgil, but particularly Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Dutt, who described in detail how British colonialism was exploiting in India. And while they used polite words, their critiques stand valid today as they were at that time. So when we pay tributes to the earlier scholars, the earlier nationalists, and earlier scholars abroad like Karl Marx himself and Friedrich Engels, we also pay tribute to Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Dutt in particular for bringing out how Britain was exploiting India. I am today especially concerned with Karl Marx and the Marxist approach to colonialism in India and its consequences. Karl Marx's criticism of colonialism was, of course, included in Capital, Volume 1, and also in the subsequent 2 volumes, and also in his articles contributed to the newspapers in America, which have been published several times, both earlier from Moscow and now also from other places. One edition coming from New York in 1991. The communist approach to colonial India precedes the communist movement in India, because this approach was first initiated by Karl Marx in his articles in 1840s onwards, also by Friedrich Engels, in which they pointed out how British imperialism was exploiting India. But from 1980s onwards, Indian economists, particularly Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Dutt, developed that critique. And although they often used courteous words, their content was singularly effective against British justifications of their rule in India. Therefore, as we celebrate what Karl Marx said against colonialism in India, we should also celebrate what Dadabhai Naoroji and R.C. Dutt in the late 19th century said in criticism and denunciation of British rule and economic exploitation of India. I have a feeling, I think, that the tribute owed to them is not effectively or adequately recognized in our universities and educational institutions. And I think, therefore, it is time that we should look at what they found to be wrong and evil in the British exploitation of India. Their publications, both Dadabhai Naoroji and Dutt, begin from 1880s. And they pointed out how India was losing annually a large amount of its income and wealth to Britain, the so-called tribute, the drain of wealth from India. They were therefore the predecessors of communist critics, of Marxist critics of British rule in India.